All right, so as she already stated, my name is Amber Gardner. I have been involved in product discovery since 7th grade at Crenton Middle School. Yes. See, you already know what I'm talking about. Yes, I was involved at Crenton.
Ms. Saunders, please stop by the main office on your way out. Ms. Saunders, please stop by the main office on your way out.
I did a couple of years at Warwick High, then I graduated from Heritage High. I claimed my hurricanes, so it's all good though. I still love y'all. I still love y'all. So, with me being involved in Product Discovery, it did a lot of great things. I'm currently on the board, Product Discovery board. We're the people that meet up, do the fashion shows, read the scholarship essays, all that good stuff. So I've officially been on both sides of the water when it comes to Product Discovery. Born and raised here in 757, been here most of my life. I graduated with a BA, Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism from Hampton University. Yes, rock the blue and white all day. And the reason why I'm coming and speaking with y'all is because, honestly, I had an interesting life. Just to kind of give a brief summary, I actually turned 24 on yesterday, so yesterday was actually my birthday, so we are now 24. Time is moving quickly. I was telling some friends of mine yesterday, I'm gonna be hitting my 30s in like a little bit over 5 years, like that. Was time went a little quicker than I thought. But in the 24 years, my mother and I have been homeless 3 times. Altogether, you add all those times up, time-wise, about 5-year time homelessness in those 24 years. My mother, she has dealt with a condition in the past, seizure disorder, that she has to take medication for. I take medication for seizures as well at this time. With her condition, there was actually a time where they actually had to medicate her into a coma due to the fact they thought she would have a stroke because she was having so many seizures back to back. This actually led to her have to be rehabilitated, learning how to eat, how to walk, and all that stuff. It was a whole lot going on. And also, I've had different issues, things going on with the father, the family aspect of it, had a lot of insecurities, so self-esteem issues in the past and various things. However, there have been good moments. One in particular, and I have some stuff set over there for you to go and look and take a peek if you want to. One moment, actually during the time I was homeless, I was actually able to meet and sing for President and First Lady Obama. Heritage High School, we actually had a choir. They still have it now. It's called the Jazz Ensemble. It's the top choir at Heritage. We actually were able to go and sing at the White House. We were able to meet President Michelle Obama. During that time of homelessness, was able to be granted, first of all, I was accepted into Hampton University. That alone surprised me. We'll get into that in a few moments about why I was shocked on that. But they also granted me a scholarship covering tuition, room, and board, as long as I maintain a 3.3. That along with grants from the area, I went to school basically for free. I have one student loan, and that's a summer student loan I took out because I needed somewhere to stay at that time, and I said, you know what, I'll knock out some credits, have somewhere to lay my head. We knocked down 2 pins on 1 ball, call it a day. So there's been ups, there's been downs, and I wanted to be able to share this with other people for the fact of, honestly, one of my biggest insecurities was always being different. I've always been considered the different one, the outspoken one. She seems a lot older for her age. She's mature, has the old soul. Some of my old friends called me Grandma Amber. I've caught it all, okay? And one thing I learned is that your difference actually helps define your destiny. For the fact that we're all meant to do different things, we're all meant to go different routes, and our difference helps us do that. Especially at this time, we got our sisters here in the room. As women, especially as younger women, women of color, we have to deal with different things. We have different experiences. Some of us, people say, oh, well, you don't act urban enough, hood enough, however you want to put it. You catch you're too mature for your age comments. And the other ones, oh, you're too outspoken, you're this, you're that. It seems like in our current society, whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, somebody always has something to say, saying you're not something enough or you're too much of something. There's always a criticism. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you being who you are so that you can do what you were meant to do. Now, some of those criticisms are necessary, myself included. I had a real issue when it came to keeping my emotions in check after my parents divorced. I went from being able to hold my tongue to just get to the point of saying whatever I wanted to say. I actually talk about it in the book, the fact of, honestly, subconsciously I felt it was a way to get the attention brought to me so they could see I was dealing with everything the right way. I wasn't handling everything the right way. You know, I missed my father. I didn't like the family aspect being broken, so on and so forth. However, rather than it bringing people to me, it actually pushed them away. Because it's like, wait a minute, she's too much. There's too much going on. Thank God there were a few people that got to know me behind the scenes and started seeing what was going on. Oh, her dad's not around much as she wanted him to be. Oh, the mother is sick. You know, when my mom would get sick or have a seizure or something, it fell in my hands after my parents divorced. So, and I have family and stuff here, but they're busy, they're working, everything like that. And unless I wanted to go to the hospital every time it happened, I had to learn what to do. You know what I'm saying? Learn to kind of turn her on her side so she can breathe right. Learn to not really put nothing in her mouth and stuff so she wouldn't choke. Learn what helped her calm down. Learn this, learn that. It's the fact of a lot fell in my hands at the same time, and I had to be able to deal with that and still be quote unquote young. Honestly, a lot of responsibility and acting young per se really don't mix in my book. When you have a lot of that responsibility, it's going to mature you a bit quicker on a bit of, as you would say, a maximum than your average person. And the word average itself is a very odd word. I really don't even like that word because no one's average. Someone always has something going on. If you're somebody that's struggling with income, you're probably having to put the baby brother and sister on the bus and having to make sure they can have the breakfast, maybe because the mama got to go to work earlier, got to work the overnight shift, stuff like that. If you're somebody with a whole bunch of money, you're probably having to deal with the fact that if your parents get up from working a lot, you may not be seeing your mom and dad that much. You might be like, look, I'll trade the dollars to be able to have them come to my graduation, come to my birthday parties. We be able to go out and do this and do that. Nothing's average. There's something going on with everything, but you take that difference and you use it so that you can do what you're meant to do. Myself, for example, I went and got my bachelor's degree in journalism because I love to write. I've always loved arts. I love to write, I love to sing, and I love to talk. We'll add that in there. That's just the truth of the matter. Millicent Nelson knows me. She knows I can carry a conversation by myself like nobody's business. You can call me Wendy Williams mixed with a little bit of Oprah deepness a bit when it comes to the conversations because I love to talk. Now, with that being said, I wanted to go and get a degree in something that would be a bit more stable. I love music. However, if you know music like I do, you hear that the music game is a very wavy game. Sometimes you balling, sometimes you begging. I was not in the mood for that after having been homeless 3 different times in my life. Please, one winter, we were actually in a homeless program where you had to go from a church or a center to a center every week. We stayed in over 10 spots in one winter, probably about 12 spots. I wasn't about to do that again. So I'm like, we got to have something that's going to keep them dollars flowing. So I said, okay, let's do journalism. Went there, getting a degree and everything. Loved the people, loved the networking, but I could feel that it wasn't really what I was meant to do per se. I am, and this is not to offend anybody, I am a Christian, I am a believer, and one of my concerns was, am I going to have to go against my beliefs in this journalism game, having to write about certain things or come at it from certain angles? Picking the headline and stuff that's going to catch everybody's attention, it might be bashing people, or, taking sides that I really might not agree with. And it's like, okay, but you still need your money. It's like, yeah, you need your money and everything, but is your money worth your God? So that became a big thing for me. Like, am I really going to be able to do this? I started going through some Christian counseling that was really necessary because I had a lot of issues from unforgiveness, bitterness, frustration, lack of faith. I was a mess. There's actually 2 chapters in my book that is actually called Confessions of a Q Baby Part 1 and Part 2. And I have those chapters because I grew up in church, but I was a hot mess for the fact that my life had not been easy or normal and I was a Christian. It really agitated my soul. Because it's like, wait a minute, so I'm in church rocking out for you and you got my life a hot mess. The folks that's out here doing whatever they want, they got the mom and the daddy in the house. It's calm, it's peaceful. They got their spot. I'm up in here in the choir in the knee-length skirts are longer. Y'all, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Them knee-length skirts are longer. Make sure you got your pantyhose on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm in here with all of this, and I don't even know if I'm going to have a spot to go to when I need to buy this piece. What is this? But I had to learn the fact of purpose comes with process. For what God had for me to do, there was going to be some extra. For the fact that it had been destined for me to do an extra thing, have an extra destiny. You can't have one without the other. When you look at your people, like, even if you want to come at it from more of a neutral standpoint, your Jay-Z's, you know, your Nipsey Hussles, God rest his soul, you know, your John Singleton, who he just passed away, your people, like, just these different people who have had these great destinies, and they have had these interesting things. Even look at your Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey was homeless at one point, living in a car, my dude. This dude that was a household name. As soon as you say Steve Harvey's name, it's like, whoa. Please, even take it home a bit more. Yesterday for my birthday, my mother and I both have birthdays in May, so I bought tickets for us to go see Tyler Perry and Medea's farewell play that was over at Ted Costic yesterday. It was here 4th and 5th, so I went to go see him do the last Medea play. Him, he had David in there, Tammy, that's Mr. and Mrs. Brown, Aunt Bam, they in there cutting up. Even Tyler was homeless at one point, man. Living out the car, ain't know what he was going to do. Now Tyler is besties with Oprah. But for these people to have these great and these crazy destinies, they had to go through these interesting situations. Please, if you want to mix our women in it, we have some of the women have had to deal with some super, super rough stuff. Please, one of my favorite artists, Fantasia, she's amazing. She was actually raped. She was raped when she was in high school. Now, this woman has a powerful voice. She has a powerful story. She's overcome and dealt with different stuff. But if you look at her now, married, happy in her music, happy in her life, doing her thing, growing bigger and badder every day. But for her to be able to relate to us through her music, relate to us through her conversation, relate to us through her spirit, you can't relate to somebody if you don't know nothing they dealing with. If you ain't been where they've been, or at least had a taste of that bad. It's almost like trying to sample something and give your opinion on it and you have never had the item. You're not going to be able to give a good review. So I had to learn that myself. Was in school, had a journalism degree, and different times in my life people had mentioned to me, oh, have you ever thought about writing a book? It was about 3 different times I got told that. Now mind you, these 3 times, these are from 3 different people. None of them knew each other. All of them had just heard a part of what was going on in my life. Not even the whole thing, just snippet, because something was going on. They would say, have you thought about writing a book? I heard it for the last time when I was at Hampton. Was asking for some help, a little financial help from a teacher to hold me down for something we needed because I was having to live off my refund check. The mother, my mom, she didn't have a job at the time, so refund check was having the whole girl all the way through. And she heard about what was going on with me, and she said, have you thought about writing a book? Now, this is the 3rd time I've heard this in my life. At this time, about 18, about to turn 19 years old. I said, all right, I see this keeps coming up. Let's see what this talk about right here. A few years go by, I had started writing a book at first, and the original title of the book was actually called After While. And I'm going to say, this book was a completely different thing from the book that actually was out at this time. After While was very much something that was dealing with, how can I say it? It was a bit of what I would call a woe is me tale. Kind of like if somebody is on their Instagram just having a straight venting session because somebody done pissed them off and they felt they got to get it off their chest. And it was done well. It was done intellectually. It was, well written, well verbed, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it wasn't really helping nobody. It was just me saying what I had dealt with. I had on the flash drive. This is before the Google Drive and stuff had got real hype. This is about 2013, 2014 when the flash drives were still popular. Had your little flash drive, your thumb drive on your keychain, And I ended up losing that stuff. And it didn't bother me. It was very strange. I'm like, how come I lost this thing? And I had written about 9 chapters by the time. And I'm like, how come this is not bothering me? Then a couple years go by. I'm going through the spiritual apostleship and discipleship and going through all of that, being mentored and helped deal with things, getting rid of the unforgiveness, getting rid of the bitterness, getting myself straight. And the book things are coming up again. And I say, you know what, all right, we're going to write it. This time, though, the title, I decided to put the title as Bigger Than Me. For the fact of, I had seen by this time that what I had dealt with was not about me. It was about me being able to help other people. And me being able to see that it was not just about me. And at the end of the day, it was actually to be very honest and blunt, His glory. It helped me look at it with a different view. And it went from me having this a venting session to me actually saying, okay, this is what I dealt with. This is the part that I played in it. Because all of the stuff that happened could have been, some of it could have gone a little bit easier if I had made better decisions regarding how I was responding to what was going on around me. Perfect example, my mother had got sick, had to be rehabilitated. My grandmother was working, she had to care for my mother, and they were trying to figure out where was I going to stay at. Now, by this time, I had been acting a straight up fool. And when I say straight up fool, I mean straight up fool to the max. The reason why I had to leave Warwick is I was there for the pre-IB program, had like at least a 3.0 something, maybe like a 3.1, 3.2. My sophomore year, I had got so sick, honestly. I was tired of taking care of my mother or myself. I felt there was a lot of pressure that I did not feel was fair. And I started just having I went through like a year of depression, basically. I missed 50 days of school. Would not go. Would just sit to the radio and eat food. It got to the point my mother actually called the police on me twice to try to get me to go to school. With that happening, I had to switch to Heritage, so my GPA went from over a 3.0 to a 2.52. Only thing saved my GPA is I had taken high school classes in middle school, and I had got A's and B's in those classes, and it had set a good foundation to hold that joker up a little bit. So, family done heard about this and everything. So honestly, the family did not want my hind parts in me. And it stung, I'm not gonna lie. But looking back at it now, it's like, can you really blame them for not wanting to add that along with having to basically train your mother to do things again that you have to teach your younger children and stuff like that? It would basically be like them having to do twice as much along with having their lives and everything. So as a result, I had to end up going and stay with my father. And that was a very eye-opening situation, and I won't even get into all that right now. I will just say, when I went to go stay with my father, I had not seen him for 6 years. We would talk over the phone, but I had not seen him in 6 years. So that alone was a very eye-opening experience, and it was necessary. However, looking back at it, it's like it probably would not have gone down exactly how it did if you had approached things a little differently. You can't put all the blame in one direction when you played your part. And that's why with the book, I said, you know what, we're going to look at this from, this is what happened, this is what life brought, this is what I added, and this is what I've learned from it, and what I'm hoping I can be able to share with you. So either A, you can see why you're dealing with something, and B, you could possibly avoid adding some extra yourself because you don't handle things all that. So I ended up starting to write the book senior year of college. Book was finished by New Year's Eve 2017. I ended up, through my pastor at the time, Pastor Moses is my boy, he had written a book, and I asked him who had edited and worked with him. He told me one of the members had given him his editor. I went to her, got the editor, this amazing woman by the name of Janae. She lives here in Virginia. And she was truly amazing because A, she worked hands-on. B, she did an hourly rate, so it wasn't no crazy prices like some of this other self-publishing. Some of the other self-publishing, you was trying to charge you a car note or something. And she also was a believer, so I didn't have to worry about my stuff being washed down, because that was actually one of my concerns with going through a publishing house. Because I'm like, you know what, I do not want this getting washed down and made to be something that's not supposed to be. I worked with her, we got everything edited. This great gentleman at the church that I grew up at, he does photography, works with him for the photography. When I tell you, he took the bombest photos. Like, me and him were working together again, because he was bomb. Like, photos just, and I had seen some of his stuff before, so I knew he was bomb. But to see him kill it with you in the picture, it's just like, yes. But everything went well with that. I started my own blog July of 2018, because I wanted to kind of get that following popping before it came out. Book was released in October. So now it has been 7 months, roughly. 6-7 months since the book's been out. And I've just been very happy that I've been able to share my story. For the simple fact of, it's one thing to know that you're meant to help other people with your story, but to actually see that thing in motion, it literally blows your mind. I've been able to do a couple of interviews, had a radio interview at Hampton University, was able to do an exclusive interview with them for the Hampton Script, the college newspaper I used to write with them. So to be able to go back and have an interview done, exclusive, was amazing. Did some vendors events. I'm actually in conversation with someone about doing an interview with a woman. She works at a Christian TV network here in Virginia. And the conversation about doing an interview with her. Also, conversation this week later on about doing another interview in the radio show. And we're just getting everything flowing. And it feels amazing. For the fact of, it's not just saying, oh, I know I'm meant to do X, Y, Z. It's actually saying I'm walking in that thing. And there's nothing like actually walking in what you're supposed to do. Because it helps you look back on everything that happened and say it was all worth it. Literally looking back, I would not change a thing. Now, was life perfect? No. Just this morning, stuff was getting good and interesting. And it had me wanting to laugh almost like, it's the day after my birthday, and mess is already trying to get interesting. What the heck? It ain't even a full 24 hours since the birthday. We talking less than 12 hours and stuff trying to pop off. It's like, are you, and pop off financially at that. Ain't even just no, oh, they said such and such. It's they not giving me the right numbers to get stuff paid, okay? Don't nobody want no financial pop off. Especially it ain't even been 12 hours after your birthday. You was just hollering, laughing at some Mr. Brown live on stage, and now you having to see people giving you incorrect numbers, and now they going back correcting themselves. And that correction means you got to give them more money. Like, so life ain't perfect. Let's make it clear. However, I am working. I do have a full-time job at this time, which is amazing. Right now, I'm making about $13 an hour. This is my first full-time job. Other jobs I had previously, Girlie was doing internships, which weren't bad, but they were great internships. But they were for a few months. Then working part-time jobs at fast food spots and whatnot. So to have a full-time job, where even though, am I Steve Harvey rich right now? No, but thank God we getting stuff paid and we got money to grab something to eat if we hungry after work or something. You see what I'm saying? So God has done amazing things, and this is only the beginning. And the fact that I'm able to sit here and speak with you all, it really is amazing. For the fact of, I can see the fact of, A, what you did was not in, what you dealt with was not in vain. B, because you're actually putting works behind your faith, you're seeing it come into fruition. And then C, that difference does equal that destiny. So, are there any questions or anything of that nature? Take a brief pause to hit any questions before we touch on anything else. Alright, so let me ask a question really quickly. In here, who in here would say that they have something that they would deem different about them? Something people seem to mention a whole lot. Always seems to come up. Okay. Alright, I see 3 hands. Alright, we're going to come here first with the Commonwealth University. What would you say that is?
Type 1 diabetes.
Type
1 diabetes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so first off, I give respect because that is something, the fact that you're sitting there with a smile on your face, that is something really, yeah, because I myself, am on medication for seizures. They had went away for about 5 years. About 4 of those years, I actually wasn't on the medication because I had gotten so busy, I kept forgetting to get my refill. And when I would try to get it, everybody was like, all my spiritual family and stuff, they was like, yo, if you've been fine without them, like, don't put yourself back on that. One of my friends from college, I talked to him because he was in medicine school, and he was saying, nah, and I was like, I'm surprised you said nah. He said, well, first, I am a believer first. He said, but also, your body has gotten so used to not having it. Putting it back in your body like that might actually make things worse. So I left it alone. A month after I graduated college, seizures started popping back up, and I had to get back on medicine. So I definitely understand how it is having to deal with the type of stuff where you gotta go get your checkups, you might have to take this, I don't know what's going on exactly, but getting your checkups, maybe having to take something here or there. I've had 1 or 2 times where, the mother telling me you had something overnight, I had to stay home from work because I didn't know exactly what was going on and so on and so forth. So I know that definitely is not something easy, so much respect. Especially you sitting there with a smile on your face like that. I would never have guessed that at all. I was thinking you about to say, oh, they say I'm a little too uptight, or no, type 1 diabetes.
It's funny.
All right, you young lady. Ah, I noticed when I said old soul too. Like you and her nodding, and like I think either her or her looked at you, kind of like like see it ain't just you. No, I will say this with the old soul thing. Everyone is different, and I say that for the fact that it seems almost like this is something I noticed. It seems like when you're someone who I'm trying to word this the right way. When you're someone who's a bit more old school when it comes to your definition of, morality or, what's right or wrong, things of that nature, people seem to deem you the old soul. Like me, myself, I am a bit more old school Christian views when it comes to various things from, how men and women deal with each other and stuff like that. And you catch the old soul comments. And it's like, just because I'm not out there, turned up to 10 does not mean I'm an old soul. Now, am I mature for my age? Yeah, I've always caught that. But it's nothing wrong with you being a little bit of a different breed when it comes to how you look at things. For the fact of, even our parents, back in the 70s, the ones that wore the froze and the disco pants, they was considered the ones that was the lit ones. Mind you, now that's considered old soul. So it's in it with every generation, it kind of hits a circle. It goes around on the wheel. So trust me, take that and you use it for good, because that old soul will probably be the one to get that good job. All right, you?
I have two, but first one is I get told I'm quiet a lot.
Okay.
And my second one is I have sickle cell trait.
Wow. Okay, so first, with that being quiet, do not take that as a bad thing. For the fact of that just means you're able to keep yourself on check, and that's a good thing. Because I've had to learn to keep myself on check. And I still have to keep that on check. I work at a call center right now. Having people in your ear just going ham. I literally be having to hit mute and be going like this. And then get off the mute and go, yes, ma'am. Just to keep it together. Keep it, woosah, all that good stuff. Just keep it here. So the fact that you're quiet, now I will say this. If you're feeling something that you need to get off your chest, do that in a good way. Because if you keep that buried, especially when you're quiet, when that junk come up, it's going to be like a volcano erupting. It's going to straight spew on them. And they ain't going to know what to do with it. So if you got to get something off your chest, make sure you're doing it the right way, but do that at the right time. But nothing wrong with you being quiet. Now, with the sickle cell, as I said to her, much respect. For the fact of you sit here with a glow on you and a smile on your face, you would never know you were dealing with something of that nature. And the fact that you're dealing with that in an amazing way, I can see you encouraging other people. I can see you maybe getting involved with one of the organizations that deal with sickle cell and being able to help other young people, maybe help with the research or help them be able to get the treatments and stuff they need. Now, I don't know what God got planned for you, but I can see you doing amazing things, but you're being able to overcome that and do that with a smile on your face and the glow on you, looking like the world is good, okay? So much respect. You definitely keep pushing through like you're pushing through. Because he gonna use that thing, especially, he gonna use that thing with all three of y'all, but with those conditions, he's gonna use y'all to do some great things. He's really gonna turn y'all up and use y'all to help other people. He does not give stuff up, he does not give out stuff like that to just anybody. When you get something like that, that's because you're gonna take that thing and you're gonna use it to encourage other people. He's gonna take that and he's gonna straight use that to help somebody push forward. I can guarantee it. Alright, so second question here. Because of course this is probably discovery, and to hit on everything with Hampton, let's take it back. So after I came back from staying with my father, I had to go to Heritage. Now mind you, me going to Heritage, I wasn't tripping too hard. I was a little nervous because most of the Heritage people come from Creighton. So I'm having to see a bunch of faces that I ain't seen in a couple years. And it's like, oh Lord, we about to be going down memory lane up in this piece. Here we go. Because I used to catch the comments and the teasing at Creighton sometimes, Everybody was up in there because Creighton was uniforms, so you had the polos on. So you knew people had money because they had on the Nikes. Or their polo was the Aeropostale polo. Or all that stuff. Walmart polo, Reeboks, with, mind you, my hair was relaxed at the time, but I had that hair where that relaxer would only last about a month. So you had them edges curling up. This before natural was becoming a trend. I used to catch the comments going, And Grody was a bit on the heavier side. Now my weight fluctuates. I'm gonna have to get myself back down a little bit as we speak because I done let some couple of them sizes sneak back on the chick. Got down to like an 8 and then my stuff creeped the heck back up, getting my grub on. They call it the call center curse. It started before the call center. So I got back to Heritage, and well, there were a couple people that helped me greatly. One, Arcelia Simmons. She is the director at Heritage. I love to sing, and she knew the director at Crittenden, and well, not Crittenden, forgive me, Warwick. And she, hollered at me and said, "Look, I know you can sing. I'm gonna start you off in this bottom one to see if you can hold your own. If you can hold down in this first year, I'll bump you up next year because I only had 2 years there, junior and senior year." So at first, I'm still trying to, skip my days and whatnot. The assistant director was like, "Oh, it should be great for this solo coming up for the Christmas show." But Simmons said, "You can't sing a solo here if you can't come to class." That joke booped me right in the face, just like sip tea, just sip tea with some daggone apple cider vinegar and a little bit of, it was almost like apple cider vinegar with a shot of some stuff you can't have till you 21. It stunk. It's like, oh God. But it was necessary. I came to her a few months later. I said, "You know what? I appreciate that because you put your foot down the way, showing me that everything can't get by everybody." I started coming back to school, getting my stuff straight. That GPA, the highest I was able to get it back to was a 289. Because y'all know, once that GPA get janked, it is hard to get that sucker back up. It's easy for that GPA to slide, but it's hard to get that sucker back up. Trying to get that GPA back up is like trying to get out of some jeans you done straight squeezed yourself in. You're going to be doing this the whole time. It's a hot mess. So I'm trying to do that. Thankfully, I ended up getting bumped up I started doing extremely well in bottom choir, got bumped up from bottom choir to top choir my senior year. So imagine if you were top choir, if you were in jazz ensemble, vocal jazz ensemble, you were in concert choir as well automatically. So I'm holding down 2 top choirs up in here, traveling, meeting this one and that one and everything. However, I was still having issues with GPA. Now I had great recommendation letters. Took my test. The test was coming out bomb. SAT. If you were just going by math and reading, 1210. Going by math, reading, writing, 1870. ACT came out with a 30. So test scores is bomb. Recommendation letters bomb. The resume looking good because I'm in different stuff. But that GPA would not hit that 3.0 like I needed it to. And 282, 289, that's right up under that 3.0. Like if you could just give an extra for me. But it wouldn't do it. Schools wanted to give me buku money, but could only give me so much scholarship-wise because of that GPA. A dude actually from Shawan, he literally told me, he said, "The sooner GPA hits 3.0, please let me know, because we will make sure that you are fully paid for." But couldn't get that thing to hit it. So I'm in class one day, kind of like this, and Hampton University comes to Heritage. I'm sitting there chilling. The valedictorian goes down. Imagine this girl, beautiful chocolate skin, cheerleader, beautiful body, 4.0 GPA. She was the Beyonce of freaking school. I kid you not. Just slayed and everything. She goes and gets it. Okay, I'm expecting that. It's her. Then all of a sudden, I literally hear God say, "Go and apply." I'm like, what? First of all, my GPA was not at no 3.0. And anybody who knows about Hampton, because you go into this application or whatever, they don't even take you if you ain't got 3.0. Let alone paying for you. Hampton private. That's about $33,000 a year roughly. A little bit more depending on what's playing out. Exactly. So I'm like, no. Then on top of that, to be honest, I wanted to go to a school further away because I was trying to get away from my problems. But at this time, I was not dealing with my issues. I was not dealing with unforgiveness. I was not dealing with bitterness. I was like, I'm just going to chuck up some deuces. I'll see y'all at the house. So that was too close for me, too. But it just kept like, no, go and apply. So I finally said, you know what, the worst they can do is tell me no. Fine, let's go do it. I teach how to go on the application. He said, sure. I have my resumes in my locker. Tip, always have your resumes and your essays. Always have extra printouts in that locker. So if someone comes through or you run into somebody, you can give them that sucker at the drop of a hat. Please remember that for me. Resumes, essays, always have extra printouts because it will come in handy. Trust me. So I go get a couple of my extra printouts, go down, do the application. I go in and speak to this woman, nice, beautiful Caucasian lady, great. She sees my test scores and everything. She sees my resume, recommendation letters. Mind you, I had extra printouts of all these, so we good. You know, beautiful looking. Then she gets to the transcript. And in my transcript, everything is looking good, mostly A, B's, you know, junior year, a C or two. But it was that sophomore year when that depression was popping off. I wasn't going to school. That sophomore year was real ugly. You seeing some ugliness up in there. So what I had did was I decided to, rather than have it come on me, to go in front of it. So my essay was dealing with what had happened, what I had learned, basically what had happened and what I had learned, how I was trying to fix it. I decided to jump in front of it rather than have them end up having to ask me, having just be in there. And it helped greatly. She read the essay, she's reading it and everything. She says, wow, that's powerful. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. She's basically like, wow, that's powerful. So she has the papers and everything in her hand, and I see her going like this. Literally back and forth, and like literally hand moving, like literally. And she says, you know what? I'm going to let you. This blew my mind. I'm like, say what? Because Hampton University is like the Yale of HBCUs. It's one of those spots, even people who are more on the PWI culture, you know, people of different races, even they know Hampton. Like when you say Hampton, it's like, oh.
Okay. It still ain't better than Howard, but go ahead.
We are the real HU,
no,
okay?
No,
we came first. We gonna discuss that later in this Nelson. Forgive you. My Hampton people, y'all know we the real HU. Rock, blue, and white, Onyx 10, West. Now, took me all about my flow. All right, we gonna come back. That's okay. So I get in. Now, mind you, I did have to end up applying again because they have lost our paperwork somehow. And this kind of taps on the fact that if you want it bad enough, you'll do what you got to do. So I applied again online. A few months go by. February comes. Mine just happened in October, so it was about a 4-month period. February comes. I get an email saying I was accepted. Now, the night I get this email, there was actually a minister preaching at my church at the time. He goes by the name of Elder Levelton Daniel. He is actually a Hampton alum, and he is one of the founders of the Hampton Gospel Choir, his chosen son. I found this out within ministry. We at the time didn't have a car, so we get dropped off at one of the deacons, and the deacons dropping him off at his hotel. We get into a conversation and everything. I was talking about how I had just got to Hampton and wanted to get into the gospel choir. I did not know he was from Hampton, let alone he was the founding member of the choir I was going to audition for. So he was there for the weekend. A couple days go by, Sunday service comes. He ends up announcing in front of everybody that he had met me. He had heard about me getting into Hampton, and he had a friend there from Hampton University who was a alum herself that he wanted me to speak to so that I could get some connections. She came and hugged me. I literally broke down in tears for the fact of, wait a minute, little miss, oh, she talked too much, oh, her GPA is jacked up, she got too much attitude, I'm homeless right now, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all this favor out of nowhere. It blew my mind. A couple weeks later, now mind you, when I finally found out I got in Hampton, the application period had, the scholarship period where you can go in for the scholarships, that had already ended. So I was already thinking, I'm not going to be going to Hampton, no way, I can't afford it. I get a letter saying you have been chosen for the presidential scholarship. Valentine's Day weekend. Presidential scholarship meaning they paid for my tuition, they paid for my room, and they paid for my board. That, along with my federal grants that I was able to get, those grants because of my income, everything was going to be paid for. And every semester, I got a refund check because every semester I had more money than I needed. For that scholarship, all I had to maintain was a 3.3. I graduated about 3.27. That last semester was a little rough. Thankfully, that last semester didn't have to get the scholarship the year after that, and still we wasn't coming up out of there with no crazy looking GPA. It was a rough semester. That last semester was a little rough class-wise, but we made it through. Thank you, Lord. I actually went to one of my professors fussing about that junk. He said, "Yo, Lil, this your last semester. You ain't gotta go for scholarship no more. You straight. Calm down." Because I was straight going to hell. But it just blew my mind. I ended up getting over, because mind you, room board, tuition, all that. Hampton, it comes to about $33,000 a year. Altogether, I was given over $120,000 in scholarship. And I didn't even have a 3.0 GPA when I applied. I had made some connections at my high school. They had a bank, I think it was Townhouse Bank or something like that. It was called exactly. They heard about my story from a counselor that I had got very close to at my high school. She spoke to them. They actually gave me a $500 shopping spree at Target to get whatever I needed for my room. I was trying to get a tablet while I was there, so I asked them to get my work done on. They said, why do you do we gotta get stuff in your room? I said, yeah, I need something to get my work done and stuff. They were like, don't worry about that. They ended up refurbishing a ThinkPad laptop for me, gave me that for free. Had a graduation party because I had to put in a deposit for Hampton before I got the scholarship and everything. The deposit being a certain time, got over $750 at the party. I was able to pay my deposit and help pay for me my mom's hotel bills. What I'm trying to make is this point. When you're meant to do great things, and when you are meant to be able to have great experiences, no matter what you are dealing with, those doors are going to open. But you have to put the works in. If I had not been getting involved with the choir, if I had not been getting back with Private Discovery, because at one point, Ms. Miller hit up my Facebook timeline, was like, yo, I ain't seen you in a few weeks, where you at? Like, I caught basically the what's up, because I ain't seen you. And that was during the whole sophomore year. So with me staying involved with the Private Discovery, with me staying involved with the choir, making the right connections, being able to get the recommendation letters, the resumes, being able to go and be not aggressive, but be proactive in things I was doing, it helped me greatly. For the fact of, now let's get this straight, this was favor from God all day. Let's please make this clear. However, your blessings come, however, you gotta give your blessings something to work with. Faith without works is dead. They gotta have something to work with. For the fact of me not having done nothing, wouldn't have been much to work with to even be. Now God can do what He want to do regardless. But at the end of the day, you take how the old people say, you take one step, He'll take two. You gotta hit that one step first. So with you all, I'm not sure how many seniors we have in this room right now.
Every last one of them.
Everybody's seniors. Okay, so we really about to have a real talk. Y'all gotta stay on your money. Whether it's y'all going to college, going to military, maybe just want to go to a vocational school, maybe you want to go be an entrepreneur. You got to make sure that you on your business and you on the ball. In our time in society, we really have no excuse to not be killing it. Like literally, I don't even have internet in my house right now. I have a hotspot I put back on my phone so I can get stuff done on my laptop and stuff and watch some smart TV when I want to. I'm running a blog, a business, running social media pages and everything else. Blog going, business going, making the business phone call, got the business emails, got the business cards done, sitting here, getting all this different type of stuff done. On the Instagram, got over 1,000 followers. I'm doing all this stuff with the bare minimum. But with us having these phones and this technology, every restaurant got a Wi-Fi connection now, we have no reason to not be killing it. If you're not killing it in this current day and age, really the only thing I can say is you just don't want to kill it bad enough. Because if you want something bad enough, you do what you gotta do. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say there was a Chris Brown concert in the area or something. And maybe one of y'all didn't have the money, but y'all wanted to go. Y'all would probably ask every member of the family if I can borrow something. Probably be going, seeing if maybe you can pull out this bank account, that bank account, see what the cheapest tickets is. If it was, let's say, in DC, see if maybe a few of the friends can hit a carpool, y'all split the gas up, find the quickest way to get here. Y'all would do what y'all had to do. You know why? Because y'all would want that thing. Please, let's not even say Chris Brown. Let's say Beyonce doing a DC show. And it's only for one day. And let's say for you to be able to go, you and the friends gonna have to split up some Uber cars. Gonna have to maybe split up while y'all stay in one hotel room, whatever have you. Y'all would probably be like a high school version of Girls Trip going to see that girl. Because y'all would want that thing bad enough. Y'all would probably spend together every penny. Be like, you know what? I know you're supposed to be giving me the graduation money, but give me that early and we call that good. Because you want to be able to have your money for the gas, have your money for the food, have your money for the ticket, probably want to buy some Beyonce shirts and stuff, want to make sure you popping for the gram, you would do all you had to do because you would want it bad enough. Take that same energy and put it towards that degree. Put it towards that business. Put it towards that training. You got to be able to prioritize what is for the purpose and what is not. And you got to be able to put some faith behind, some works behind that faith. You got to be able to do it. You got to put that grind on that thing. That's actually why I have the shirt I have on right now. This is actually a new shirt I have a part of my merchandise. Currently, I am selling my books. I have the Bigger Than Me shirts, and I actually came up with this with my t-shirt designer. He's a great guy. He's local. If you haven't realized, I like local people because I like to be able to support my people the same way I want them to support me. That's just how I get out. So, I know I wanted a new shirt that would be something that could be encouraging and have like a flow like the book, but not be exactly dealing with the book per se. And I said, what can I do? And I remember to talk about, everybody keeps saying the struggle is real. The struggle is real. I said, you know what? Let's try to take that and flip that. The same way the struggle is real, the victory is real. And I said, you know what? We gonna do that real quick. I got with him, let him do some designing, because at first I was trying to do a design myself, but all these sites and stuff was going. I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave this in your hands. I trust you. And he came up with these shirts just like this. You know, basic, but still has that message, has that flair. You could do this thing with a blazer, hit it with a cardigan, even just do it with some flip-flops, go into Walmart and call it a day. Be your first of the month outfit with your cap. But at the end of the day, it says what it's meant, and it's the fact of, victory is real. But at the end of the day, it's how bad do you want it? So, I'm about to wrap up for y'all. They got somewhere to go. But at the end of the day, all I'm going to say is this. The difference is for the destiny, and he will take your grit and turn it into his glory. At the end of the day, it's simply, are you ready for it, and how bad do you actually want it? Yeah.
Okay.